Hey, welcome to the Blind Eye Podcast. This is episode number...
13?
13?
No, it's actually 14.
The 13 was that unlucky one we did last time of the horror.
Yeah.
13 would have been good, you know?
Yeah, right.
It would have been
Just
good.
got
It's okay.
all up in here.
14's just fine.
Anyway,
It's just a little scarier than 13.
Yep. Welcome to the Blind Eye Podcast, where hell is just one joystick away from, our nightmares and horrors.
Yes.
Tonight, we're going to be talking about horror games. Now, that's been something that's been picking up really frequently since, what was like the first horror game that you guys remember playing? Oh, hold on before I start anymore. This is Joshua Binga, your host.
Zane Mehdi.
Abby Alejo.
Anthony Azanian.
Awesome. Now, what's the first, what like, the epitome of horror games? Like, what really translates to a horror game? Like, what are the titles out right now that are really, putting us on our toes right now?
Well, to actually answer your first question,
Awesome.
My first horror game that I remember was Resident Evil, playing it on the PS1.
Yes, the first one.
God.
Resident Evil 2
Nemesis.
or 1? Nemesis.
Yes.
Okay.
Fuck
I
that
remember
guy.
the first one.
Now, is that the one you played not Chris Redfield, Claire Redfield
Yes.
and Leon Kennedy?
Yes.
Nice.
Yeah. One of my favorite characters, actually, because he had his own solo game for his other Resident Evil 4.
Best Resident Evil.
Which scared the shit out of me as a kid.
But for your other question, what games are released? Of course, Silent Hill demo has been the talk of the town. Outlast has been out. Evil Within is actually pretty good, which is actually made by the director who made Resident Evil 4.
Yep.
So
The gameplay is quite similar to Resident Evil 4.
It looks like it. I've seen some demos. I've seen some
even the deaths
gameplays
as well.
I saw the main character get beheaded like it was nothing.
Just like Grinchville. But yeah, good games to talk about, and of course the previous ones too. All Resident Evil, any other horror games that you guys can think of.
What about you, Anthony? Horror game. First thing that comes to your head. Come on.
Horror game? Fear.
Yeah.
When I first started playing Fear at Josh's house, he's like, for the hell of it, let's shut the lights off. As soon as that little bitch came too close into the screen, I dropped the controller. I stormed out. I'm done.
Can I actually say it's not a horror game, but it scared me shitless when I was younger?
It was, you know what? I was confused. Is this a horror game? It's an FPS. You got like a good weapon set. It kind of looks like a Doom.
No, I'm talking
What
about
games
something
are you guys
totally
talking about?
different, though.
Fear.
No, I'm talking about something different.
Oh,
When I
you're
was
talking about
younger, Donkey Kong Country.
Oh.
Donkey Kong Country.
Silence your cell phones.
That vibrating was a cell phone. When I was younger, playing Donkey Kong Country on the SNES, any of you guys
I know what you're
remember
talking about.
the game over screen with Donkey Kong and Diddy Kong bruised up and that music playing, and it's just two of their heads on a black backdrop?
Yes.
That scared me so much when I was little.
Uh-huh.
I remember playing late at night when my parents were sleeping, and when I would die and lose my lives, I would rush to the console to turn it off before I would see that. Alright, anyways, real horror games.
What is it? Horror game that the first thing that comes to my mind is, what was it? It was either Dead Space or Doom for the Xbox.
Those are great.
Right?
That shit was scary and gory.
Was it Doom 3? That's Josh in the back signaling me, by the way. Hey, Josh.
Hi.
I think he's watching Markiplier videos of Alien.
I will try my very best not to scream like a bitch at these videos.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, so it's more of a warning.
And that's Matt, by the way, also on the computers.
Yes.
He's going to be our fact checker.
Yes, so we don't get anything wrong.
Yes, so we don't get any hate.
Haters be hating.
We love you.
So we got
Tis K.
Silent Hill, Dead Space.
I want to say my choice is Doom 3. That scared the living shit out of me. It was like the first game where you had to depend on a flashlight to get through the map.
Yes.
What was that one horror game back in the day? You would it was you and a younger sister would go into a haunted house with a camera, and the objective was to find the ghosts and take pictures of them.
I don't recall, actually.
I think that's what it was.
Josh says fail frame. In case
Can you fact check that, Matt?
Fail frame?
What was the plot for Fatal Frame?
Like I
Fatal
said,
frame or fail frame?
Fatal.
frame.
Wow.
Like picture frame.
Plot for it was just to capture ghosts. It's like Ghostbusters only with a camera. But it's scary as shit.
Yeah. I think that was one of the first ones that defined horror games.
I can fact check this.
Fatal Frame.
Fatal Frame was
Okay, awesome.
Oh wow, nice. It actually pulls it up
Sweet.
as soon as you type in fatal.
Yeah.
Thank you, Google.
Probably not use that for Bing.
They don't have to know. They don't have to know.
It's an early episode.
It is.
Anyways.
Known as Project Zero in Europe and Zero in Japan, is a supernatural survivor horror video game series based on both a third-person perspective and first-person perspective, revolving around exploring abandoned ruins and finding hostile ghosts.
That sounds like
So pretty much like Ghostbusters then.
Yeah. Or like Louis just mentioned.
Yeah, true.
Except this shit was intense.
Yeah.
Now, I'm looking on the schedule right here because we're trying to be a little more professional with our podcasts.
Yeah.
Instead of everybody tangenting like a,
It actually is a lot more mild right now with just the four of us.
I'm actually thinking about keeping the
format?
This format, keeping it, nice and close, 3 or 4 people. People out there on YouTube, please let us know. Do you like this format? Do you want us to go back to 5 or 6, 7 people?
Which maybe more? We already know the answer.
Let us know, please. We would love to hear some feedback
Just
on
throwing this out there. It'd
Yes.
be better if there were more of us, if it were on video.
That is true.
That would be better.
Like the Destiny podcast video episode we did. It came out pretty well,
Yeah.
I think.
But
Thank God for my shitty camera.
All right, let's get back to the topic on
Yes.
Let's get back.
Introduce horror games. What is it? On the list, we have Silent Hill, we have Outlast, we have Evil Within, Slenderman, etc.
I would like to stop you real quick.
Okay.
I came across one thing about Outlast. Despite the fact that Slender already has a sequel, I'm sure most people will already know this, but I came across the fact that Outlast has a sequel.
Yes.
Yeah,
it has been
Whistleblower.
announced, of
It
course.
has. I didn't know this.
No, you mean...
It's Outlast Whistleblower.
Yeah, that came out like a few months ago.
Oh no, there's
Not
another
aware.
one coming
Oh,
out.
so there was Outlast, and then Whistleblower, and now there's a full-blown sequel.
A full-blown sequel.
Oh, okay,
of
yeah, because
Outlast coming out.
Whistleblower was more of like an extra campaign to do.
Yeah.
It wasn't like a full-blown sequel.
Yeah.
So
Would you consider that an expansion or a DLC or
Like a
something?
DLC.
I would expansion, DLC.
Yeah, but now they're making a sequel to Outlast.
Well, plus
a full-blown
technically-
game.
Yeah. Well, the weird thing with Whistleblower is it started out, the timeline compared to the original Outlast, it was like a prequel, and then it like synced with the timeline of Outlast.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of a mix of both.
Okay.
I'm looking into it now.
Yeah.
Thank you, Matt.
But getting back to the topic, what makes these games scary?
I think
Simple
it's
question.
I think it's the helplessness that you feel in the game.
The lighting,
The light.
how dim or complete total darkness.
Have you noticed that the games are going from... They're copying movies, pretty much, trying to do the jump scare like Matt had mentioned.
Yeah.
They're literally copying movie tactics to scare us in-game.
I think PT is like a perfect example of that. Like it takes movie elements and throws it into a game.
Well, that
you
did
know, you have like the
director
creeping
too.
figure wisping through the window. Yeah.
Using lighting, as he suggested, helps create an emotional connection, which is why you feel a stronger sense of fear.
I'm gonna say hands down also like ambience and sound effects too.
Absolutely.
Of course.
Everything, actually, from animating to voice acting to everything. It
I
does
feel like
matter.
you would, when transitioning into horror games, you put a little more emphasis in the cinematic and the movie,
Oh, yeah.
movie,
Definitely.
the movie tactic for into gameplay, because we've played FPSs, we've played RPGs, we've played the basic titles out there, and we've always had a sense like, oh, we're the best, we're a prodigy, we're not going to win, we're going to win, we get the best items, we get the everything's lit up. But you go into a horror game and you're not really the... Yes, Anthony?
No, I was just remembering something from a previous podcast.
Can it wait?
Yes.
Okay.
Continue, Josh.
But when you put into a horror game, you're kind of put down in the ranks of like the people who are expendable. You're in the position where you're kind of helpless. You don't get the best weapon. You have to scrounge for your resources.
Like you're saying any other typical adventure game, you're made to be the hero, but in horror games, you're like an expendable. Like you're fighting to survive.
They put a lot of cinematic effort into your death scene.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Yes,
They love it when you
Yeah.
die almost.
They want you to die. That's the point.
Yeah, that's the
They
point.
want you to die.
And it's your what is it? Objective, your goal, your just primary goal. It's not to save the world. It's to get out to the next level.
You're set up to
Survive.
fail.
Yes.
Survive.
Yes, man.
I'm on IGN right now.
Okay.
This is back at Outlast. Whistleblower was a prequel. You play as the character that creates the anonymous tip for the original character in Outlast to go to there and create the actual story.
Yeah. Like I said, though, towards the end of Whistleblower, the timeline
Meets
is
up.
parallel to the original timeline of Outlast.
Outlast 2 is going to be a slightly different universe. You play as a different character.
Oh,
but
no Miles.
it says here on the little excerpt that it's they may go back as like a flashback or something.
What do you mean, like they go back to Mount Massive?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So it's going to be completely new set of characters, new set of environment, and just a whole different story. But based on what this article has said, the people have quoted saying they may go back to the original source material.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, I have faith in Red Barrel, which that's the name of the developer of Outlast,
yes,
right?
Red Barrel Games.
Yeah, but like the thing that made Outlast great was that, you know, just the people you encounter in the building, and so I feel like if they stray away from that, like it's not Outlast anymore. Mm-hmm. Like at least Amnesia kind of felt the same.
Mm-hmm. Do you think that Amnesia? How many sequels did that have? Or?
Just one.
Just one.
Amnesia. Amnesia, and then they had what was the one that was like a reference to Portal? I can't remember the name right now. But the latest Amnesia one was Machine for Pigs, but there was one in between that. I think it was called Justine or something.
Do you think that those two games kept the same chemistry going on? Like, you could tell that this was an Amnesia game.
Yeah, you could tell it was an Amnesia game, but the biggest gripe people had with Amnesia and its sequel, which is Machine for Pigs, for whatever reason, the thing that made Amnesia great was, like, you had the lantern, and it's, like, already so old and primitive. It's a lantern. It's not a flashlight. And then, you know, you run out of oil. In the sequel, they gave it unlimited oil. So you didn't have that pressure of like having to find oil anymore for your lantern.
And that takes away from the horror aspect.
Yeah, that was a big part of Amnesia, you know.
Do you think that the Outlast games are going to keep that same chemistry where, like, you know, you're going to stick with the camera, or, you know, you're not going to have them, you're not going to be able to pick up any resources or items other than, you know, just your...
I hope they stick to it, but like as Matt said on his research, they were straying away from...
One mechanic that I found interesting that Amnesia introduced, and I don't know if it was the one that introduced it, was the hiding aspect of the video game. Like,
that
you don't...
already.
Was that already in?
I'm not too sure.
Well, maybe not in the same way, actually.
Outlast.
Actually, you know what? Yeah, ever since Amnesia came out, I see more of like the typical, hide in the cabinet.
Yeah, in the locker, underneath the bed.
Even Evil Within that just came out has that. Like, in the very first chapter, you hide inside a cabinet.
Do you think that helps the horror aspect?
Yes.
Yeah.
Definitely helps.
Because you're no longer just hiding in like a back corner or in the shade or like in a shadow, but you have to interact with your surroundings.
Especially if you're helpless, like in Outlast, all you have is the camcorder.
Creates tension,
and that's it. It creates tension. And if you notice too, when your character is hiding in the locker, they're breathing heavier until you get out, and then they stop breathing. Heavy.
Right.
That makes it more realistic.
Yeah, like not to mention in Amnesia, like you actually have to kind of like grab the door and pull it open. You don't just click and it slides open. You like have to fumble to open the door yourself.
Yeah, actually, Outlast did that too.
Yeah,
you can slowly open the door, or you can just be like, "Fuck this shit."
You know what would be cool if you had to like put if there was like a jammed door, or if there was a lock combo
You
lock
have to
on
like
it.
pick it somehow.
I
would just give up on that door and run the fuck out of the room.
A similar mechanic was Gears of War. When you had to reload, you had to do it in a manner, or you had to time it right. Otherwise, your gun would jam. Same kind of thing with like a horror game where you would have to time your button combination right. Otherwise, the door would get jammed. It wouldn't open correctly.
That'd be interesting.
Did you?
That would add more tension.
Yeah, I can see Outlast or Red Barrel incorporating that into future Outlast games.
I hope they do.
Yeah.
There was another mechanic that Outlast, I don't know if anyone did it, where you run and you press a button, you can look behind you real quick.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Because Amnesia
that was applied at Resident Evil 4.
Was that?
Yeah.
I remember that, yeah. It was like the quick turnaround.
Yeah.
Quick 180.
But that was when you weren't running. You can just press whatever,
like it was
back
down
in
in X
A
or
whatever,
yeah.
and then he just turns around. In Outlast, that was cool where you're running and you're like, you can't. In normal games, you had to stop, turn around, oh shit, he's still there, and continue running. But in Outlast, you run, that's it.
That's cool because that kind of gave a cinematic aspect.
Yes.
Like, you were looking at the perspective as if you were watching a movie.
And they did it well too.
You can't do that in Resident Evil 4, is with the C-stick.
Keep on running and look back.
But you're panning the camera.
Yeah,
manually.
you're still running.
But it's not like a quick 180.
Yeah, see, like hit the nail on the head when you said it's more cinematic, because in Outlast, like when you turn back, the camera kind of wobbles and there's a motion blur to it too, so it's like you're really like looking back really quickly, you know.
I think they were going for a movie aspect, or like a movie immersive kind of feel to it. You know, hey, props to you guys. Who was it developed?
Red Barrel.
Red Barrel.
Thank you so
Especially
much.
those chase scenes. Ooh, I always want to see how far that guy's behind me. You know, like, oh my god.
I think they did what the Blair Witch Project movie was trying
Oh
to
my
do
God.
in the form of a video game, which makes it even more awesome because there's that immersiveness to it.
Yeah. You know what? Yes, Josh? Everything okay?
I think you guys should add enough Cantuans.
What?
Oh, Alien Isolation.
Alien Isolation.
I think we'll...
He's still watching the Markiplier playthrough.
What?
Use your bathroom.
Yes, you can use my bathroom, Anthony.
Anthony's going to take a break, everybody. Anthony's going to take a break.
Whisper, whisper.
He'll be right back after these few short piss breaks.
Remember, shake twice only.
But what...
More than twice, and it's playing with yourself.
Yeah, right?
All right.
But what our other Josh was talking about was Alien Isolation that shortly has been released.
That's
recently.
really
Oh,
cool
hello,
because
Anthony.
last thing I saw from Alien was the Prometheus thing, right?
Yeah.
But we seem to keep going backwards into
Yeah.
the Alien. What is
Pretty
it?
cool, pretty
Dude,
cool.
I
pretty
was
cool.
death gripping my arm.
What?
That's how scary that game is. Huh?
Like that.
Imagine,
Like, don't
you're
scream,
just
don't
watching
scream,
it
don't
right
scream,
now,
don't
too. You're just watching it. Imagine playing.
I would not.
Break the controller. God.
No, I wouldn't be able to play it at night either. Not because it's like, ooh, scary. It's more like my dad's asleep in the other room.
And you want to wake him up.
He'll hear a girl scream, run into my room going, is Maddie okay? And she's asleep. And I'm sitting there at the computer just going...
I live a few streets up from Josh. I'll probably hear you scream from my room.
No shit, you probably will. I screamed pretty loud, just ask Matt. Like, at one point he ran up behind me, like, I was on Dyer, coming down Dyer, and he runs up behind me. All I hear, I'm going towards the caller, all I hear is like... I go...
Here's a question, though. Regarding Alien Isolation.
Yes.
Do you think they should have kept the same chemistry with Outlast? Because it feels... What is it? I saw some of the gameplays, and you
It
can
is
hold
quite
guns
similar.
now
Yeah.
in Alien Isolation.
Yeah.
Do you think that was...
Limited guns, though, not like...
Yeah, like a
You-
pistol,
you
shotgun,
have-
and
it
a
lasts
flamethrower.
for a short time.
Yeah.
As well,
It's
not long.
very limited supply of ammo because it's a spaceship. Just imagine like trying to find a gun on an airplane.
Yeah.
It's the same thing.
Well, it's a huge fucking spaceship.
Yeah, but still, some idiot's gonna get drunk and shoot a hole in a window that he's not supposed to.
No. But
What were you
they do have the
laughing
same mecanic as Outlast, as far as hiding goes in the locker, and then the scanning thing, replaced by the camera. I would say pretty
That's
much.
freaking
Oh, the
hilarious.
radar
The little,
detector?
Yeah.
the little Game Boy
that.
thing to unlock the doors.
It just
Dude, that
heightens
does
the
look like the
situation.
old-fashioned Game Boy. Like as soon as I saw it, I was like, a Game Boy? Scanner.
Scanner.
Hacker.
I love the
That's
fact-
a Game Boy. Don't lie.
I love the fact that all the technology looks so 80s.
It
I
does.
swear.
I love it, but the
And you're on a
scanner-
spaceship.
You're on a
You
spaceship.
know, they actually modeled that from that movie.
Yeah,
Alien.
oh god, I want to say
Perfect.
1986. Matt, what year
was
did
that?
what year did Ridley Scott's Alien come out?
I can
first
check
one.
that right now.
IMDb.
Dude, I love that.
They mimicked everything perfectly. They modeled everything just like
The
that.
robots.
1979.
1979. Okay.
Okay.
Jeez. Yes.
The robots kind of scare the crap out of me because
Yeah.
there's one part where he's scared of robots. Markiplier, he's scared of robots, so he runs away from this one guy, and he like breaks like line of sight with him and hides in a locker, and he just immediately goes bam like that, and he's hiding in the locker, and he's looking at the motion detector, and it's getting closer and
Did you
closer
lock
and
the door?
closer. No,
I think you did.
No, he
he's
didn't lock the
opening-
door.
He's opening the doggy door.
Oh, okay.
But he then sees he's looking down at the scanner, looks up, and he sees glowing eyes, and the locker opens, and he grabs him. I screamed, man. It's like
Yeah,
no.
they like in Outlast, if you go in a locker, that's pretty much your safe zone.
Yeah.
There is no
I mean,
safe zone.
sometimes-
But in Alien Isolation,
If he heard you or anything
if he
like that,
hears you breathe, you're like,
Yeah, well, even in Outlast, if you go in there a split second too late, they'll grab you out of it.
I heard that if you play Outlast Isolation on Xbox and you have the Kinect,
Yes.
if you make a noise, the enemies
Yeah.
will hear you.
Yeah, and
in
it
the game.
also
That's pretty
detects
cool.
your head movement too, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was over there, and there's this one part where like he picks up the scanner again, it goes beep 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 like that, and you hear the thud thud, and then it hiss, and there's a gurney right next to him. He goes under the gurney. He's just hiding under the gurney. I feel like I'm under my bed. And this thing just like hissing past and it's like stomp, stomp. You see the feet. The feet turn towards the gurney. I'm like, they turn again and they go the other direction. I'm like,
oh god, I'm never getting off this gurney.
Well, speaking of which, Outlast had that mechanic too. Like, not only can you hide in cabinets, you can hide under beds as well.
That was cool.
So it's even freakier, like seeing them walk around. There was one playthrough
Thanks, Josh.
where he looks away and it looks like it's clear. But then all of a sudden he looks back and he gets grabbed out of the bed.
Yeah.
Listeners,
I just creeped at your brother.
I love you.
The other thing was like how scarce stuff was in Outlast. You know, where the batteries run out, the night vision doesn't work anymore. That means you will not see somebody who's literally like 2 feet.
I think it was Doom that did that also, right?
Yeah.
with the flashlight.
Doom 3 with the flashlight. Now, did you have to find batteries for it, or did you have to let it charge?
Like recharge.
Yeah.
If you think about it, the lack of resource is what increases the suspense.
Yes.
Increases that.
That's another major factor.
Huh?
Just like Last of Us.
Is Last of Us doing that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Last of Us was
Last of Us did that. I didn't play it. It was on the PlayStation, right?
Yeah,
I didn't play it.
PS3.
Great game. You're missing out.
I know. Didn't they release like a refurbished version for the PlayStation 4?
I got it.
I'll
The
get that.
remastered version of
I'll
PS4.
get that when I get the PlayStation 4.
Game ever. You have
Really, there's
to
no difference between that and the PS4 version. All it is just graphics.
Shut up, Anthony.
Great
I'm looking
story.
forward to it. Don't crush it.
It was a great story. Just like Alien Isolation, it wasn't the aliens that were scary too. It was like the robots.
Yeah.
And in Last of Us, it's not only the infected; it was the hunters that were scared too.
Mm-hmm.
But like Josh mentioned, the scarcity of stuff is what makes games that scary. So, Evil Within, you have guns. Does that make it that scary as
It's a different type of scary.
The Evil
Outlast or
Within,
something
it was like
that?
Because the
More
thing
famous
is,
in your life.
like with the Evil Within, like you can get keys and then you can go back into like I don't know the actual words for it because I've only been watching playthroughs. But like when you go back into your mind and you can get your upgrades, and then you can unlock the lockers to get items. So that takes away from like the whole aspect of like survivability and trying to find resources.
that's sort of like a puzzle aspect though to some
is,
horror
yeah.
games. And puzzle apparently have their own genre now. Like,
does that take away from the scare? If you have weapons in your hand, I mean, if you have weapons, you'd be like, "Oh,
it gives you a feeling of equality with your enemies. Like, I can finally fight back somehow.
Mm-hmm.
But you still have to ration your resources.
Yeah, you still.
Yeah. So I don't think weapons are a bad thing as long as they handle it correctly.
Yeah. Otherwise, it'll just be another third-person shooter or another FPS.
Mm-hmm.
But I definitely don't think that horror games shouldn't have weapons. I don't really pick about
Excuse me, Josh.
Well, it depends.
Okay.
Like Evil Within, like it was scarce that you would even if you shot, you better make sure that you hit somebody, or else that's it.
Yeah. The interesting I thought in the Evil Within is that they're like they're zombies or they're infected, but if you shoot them in the head, they don't die instantly. Like, you have to either get a critical hit to completely blow their head off, but even if you get, like, a big chunk of their head off...
They'll still come after you.
Yeah, you have to completely kill them.
Terrifying.
And if you can't manage that critical shot and completely blow their head off, then you just have to burn their corpse when you can finally knock them down, which is really interesting.
Yes.
Similar story with that, Resident Evil in the scene.
Which one?
4.
Okay.
When, right after you beat the lake monster, not the Loch Ness monster, but it's more parasitic, you get to a cutscene after that, and then you go through this gate. In the gate, there's another cutscene where the parasite, the main parasite that you have to kill, pops out of the dude's head. Mm-hmm. Right? And it's like after like 40 rounds after shooting it, then it dies. It's the same. Like if you have to, after one critical hit, you'll blow the dude's head off, and that's the parasite will reveal itself. They have to keep shooting that.
Resident Evil 5 do that also?
Resident Evil 5 did do that. It was
4 was the first one.
4 was the first to interpret that.
Because, headshot is a weakness.
Right.
Or so you thought until, like...
See, that's for a zombie. After you start doing that, then we're moving on to a parasite or an infection kind of enemy.
But Resident Evil 4 did it very well with the story. They didn't fuck it up like Resident Evil 5 or whatever,
I actually kind of liked Resident Evil 5.
Really?
Just a little bit. Just a little bit. Okay. You know what I liked about it? Co-op play. You got a partner.
That's true.
The fucking AI that you work with, Nope.
Yeah.
Nope.
Useless.
Useless.
Might as well play by yourself.
Just as useless as Ashley.
Oh God, man.
God damn it! You got captured
But
again.
that's the thing. That's the thing that added more tension to Resident Evil 4. You had to watch out.
You had
for
to watch
somebody.
over somebody. Like, oh fuck, I can't leave you alone.
So that game had games. I mean, what am I saying? It had guns, so you can protect somebody, but you had to actually protect somebody. That means she could get bitten or tossed or kidnapped, which they constantly did, and you had to be like, oh, fucking Ashley.
And then go to the realm of light.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
That's what made that game more scary. Especially that one scene where I was explaining to Anthony earlier, the house in the middle of nowhere with Lewis and Ashley, and you get hoarded by zombies all over.
That
was
shit
the
out of me.
best scare scene for me too. I had to pause. I need to relax.
Put it down for a second. Just do some laughs.
No, for me it was the Chainsaw Twins. As soon as I saw that, I'm done.
God.
Because there's no way I'm gonna kill one and survive the next.
Well, before that, what was the horror game before that? Was there one? Was there like an iconic horror game before
Not
Resident Evil
4?
2 would bring back. Remember, if people continued to kill zombies, then when they had to backtrack, they'd notice that these zombies came back to life. So if you didn't burn them, they'd come back to life. That was
a scary game. That was the one scary game that I just couldn't play by myself. I was in elementary school when I played it. My friend
Bad
Oscar,
time.
right?
Worst time. You're so naive, you know. And you're like, oh, it's
Video
a game,
games
right?
are
It's a
so
game.
cool,
It's
right?
a game.
My fucking friend invited me to his house, and he brought out a game like, oh, this is my big brother's game. Want to play it, man? I totally played it a bunch of times, and I was like, yeah, totally, dude. What is it? It was he started it up. I don't think I've ever heard of zombies before. Before he played this game in front of me, and I was like, I don't want to come here anymore. I don't want to play this anymore.
I hate this. But that's the thing; it scared you. So
It scared the living shit out of me.
Would it scare you today?
Would it scare me today? If they did it right. I don't think Resident Evil 6 did it right.
No,
It was
I was telling Anthony too that they're changing the formula.
That
It's not
totally
gonna be a
turned
scary
into an action
anymore.
game, I
It's
swear.
an action game from now on. The main sequels that are coming out, 7, 8, blah blah blah, whatever, they're all action. But everything else is going to be side horror.
What's up, Josh?
Can you imagine if, like, with Alien Isolation, how the alien kind of tracks you down and everything like that, and it makes noises, and you get all creeped out? Can you imagine someone put a mod in to change everything about that, but keep the same chemistry with Child's Play?
Oh,
What?
I'm out.
No.
Trying to hide.
Are you doing this on purpose, Josh?
Kind of.
You're a dick.
Some of us have to walk to our car later.
I know.
and it's dark.
No, he knows I have a phobia of Chucky.
Yes, I do
Of
too.
anything that can make me squeal like a bitch.
I have a bad story about Chucky when I was
I'm
younger.
going to remember this, Josh. I'm going to scare the living shit out of you now. I'm going to remember this.
he's just going to follow you home in the alien costume.
No, the Chucky costume. Oh yeah.
No, Alien would scare me even better. Chucky is not so much like.
I have a
you're
bad
tiny.
Chucky story.
You want to share it?
I guess.
Go for it. I shared mine.
When I was younger, and I know this makes my dad sound bad, but I had to stay alone at home one time, and I was like, well, it was whenever the very first Chucky movie came out, and I was born in 1992, so you guys do the math. I was sitting watching TV, and Chucky comes on, and naive little Abby didn't know what it was, so I let it play, and I was sitting in the dead center of the room with no desk, anything around me.
That's pretty fucked up.
Yes, I thought it was just going to be a nice little movie. This little girl gets this awesome little doll of this little redhead kid wearing suspenders. Or like a little whatever. And then like when I realized that it's Chucky and it's scary, like it's too late for me, I'm like frozen in my seat. So I'm forced to sit there and watch the whole thing. I was too scared to get up and like get any remotes or like change the channel. Mm-hmm. And then when I was in the Philippines visiting family, I was taking a nap with my cousins. And when I woke up, there was a Chucky doll sitting right in front of me. Like, it was one of my cousin's dolls, and it was just laying in the bed right next to me, staring at me. So...
I'm not informing much. I love you.
Alright, anyway, sorry.
Would you like me to pontificate how far you're going?
Just give me numbers.
29 minutes.
Oh,
Thank you, Josh.
okay.
Well, I didn't want to, interrupt mid-sentence,
Yeah. Thank you, Josh.
Did you want to finish?
No, that's pretty much it.
Moving on from the topic, horror games have their, obviously, guns, scare element, but what about the story? Did the story scare you?
They're starting to pick up a little bit on horror story games. Like, I actually feel compassion for the character you play with, and even the expendable characters that you play along with, like those supporting cast. Like, oh no, I wish you'd lived. You're cool.
Yeah, and like Evil Within, you had your detective pal.
Yeah.
And then that's it. And one moment he's there, one moment he's gone, and then you're alone.
Action games, you just come across characters like, okay, yeah, you're cool. Okay, you're gonna die. You're gonna die.
I gotta
but
say,
I don't feel bad for you.
I gotta say, like with Outlast, and this is gonna have some spoilers, but like I was rooting for Miles so hard. So like,
and I saw the ending.
Yes. So when he ended up dying or being taken over by the Wall Rider, which is what I think happened. Like,
I think wasn't he shot though? Wasn't he like?
Okay, yeah. In the original Outlast, that's the thing. You're playing this guy and you're rooting for him, and he finally makes it. But then they shoot him down as soon as they open the door.
Like he's gunned down by the SWAT team or
he's
something.
gunned down. So like literally, the last scene is of you as Miles falling to the ground with sounds like blurring around.
And you know why you feel compassion for him? Because you were with him throughout the entire game.
Yeah.
You were like trying to help this guy. Oh, I hope I get through this.
Yeah, like in Amnesia, I didn't feel that attached to Daniel. I don't know. I mean, it was a great game, but Outlast was just totally different for me.
It was like, this guy went through so much shit. He was just a reporter trying to get a good story.
Yeah, he got his finger chopped off. He...
Fuck that doctor.
Shit happened.
Fuck that guy.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think they're picking up with the stories. They're like they're getting us a little more involved and immersive in who we're playing as.
Yeah,
you know,
I think that's half of the thing that makes up horror stories. You can't just be running around and hack slashing.
Right now, do you think it's a good idea to hack slash supporting cast characters, or do you think you should have a good lineup as to who should make it to the very end?
Make it to the end. Because I think...
you grow attached to the characters that you fight along with?
Luis from Resident Evil 4. When I saw him down, I'm like, too soon, man! Because after Silent started stabbing him in the back and went right through his chest, I'm like, no! I almost cried.
But that's what gives it more... What's the word I'm trying to say?
Anger. Kills drama?
Drama.
I guess.
That's what gives it more drama.
It pissed me off.
When you think that they wouldn't kill that character, and then suddenly out of nowhere they kill it, and you're like, what?
That's the great thing about, like, I guess horror films, or just, like, in movies, like, I feel like a lot of movies, they're too scared to kill off the main characters. But, like, in video games, they're fucking relentless.
They're waiting for you.
Okay.
Wait, did the main character... Main character died?
Yep.
Right
before she... Like, right at the end. Right when she's going to start the car, chainsaw ran right behind her. I'm just like, how the hell does he get in the car before she does?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's what makes the horror movies that great, too, because you think somebody's free. Another example was The Descent.
The Descent.
Of the girls that go cave diving and then get trapped in there.
That one, I remember that one.
Oh, the recent one that came out?
No, that's the second one, I believe. There was a first one where, again, spoiler alert here, the girls go down cave diving, get trapped, blah, blah, find these weird creatures living underneath where they don't need eyesight, they can only have... and they look all creepy, and then at the end you would think that the girl made it out, and he shows you a nice scene. She's like, oh yes, I'm free. She goes, she finds a car, she's like resting, she's crying because she's like, what the hell happened? Then she comes back to rest, and then she sees like one of her dead friends sitting right next to her. She's like, what the fuck? She gets up from shock, she's still underneath the cave. She never escaped. She bumped her head when she fell.
That's even worse.
So she
the whole
never
time
made
it was
out.
just a dream.
Yeah. But in the end,
dreamt,
she's still fucked up.
she was still
and...
stuck, but she dreamt that she left, but she never did.
That's
worse. What a tease.
Yeah,
see, if they did that at the end of the game, I would just think like, oh, fuck you guys.
Yeah, all that. Because 4 hours of playing.
Well, that's pretty much what Outlast ended up being.
Yeah, the difference is, though, that you're not so much attached to a character in a movie because you're not really experiencing yourself what they're going through.
You know the struggles of the character because you're playing that character in these games.
Here's the one thing I want to talk on. Indie horror games.
I mean, technically, Amnesia and Outlast came from indie developers.
That's true.
There is one indie horror game that I wanted to touch base on because it's pretty different from what we've been talking about, which is Lone Survivor, which is a side-scrolling kind of 8-bit looking game. But that game still freaked me out. Like, have any of you heard of it?
I have not, actually.
I'll definitely look it up when we're done.
Yeah. It's psychological. And at the same time, like, I didn't like it because I hate the feeling of being chased, and like that's constantly like what's happening in that game. And you have like resources in the game as well.
I think that sounds like Silent Hill.
Yeah,
A little bit.
with Pyramid Head.
And then with the new Silent Hill coming out as well. You tried the
when
demo?
I saw Pyramid Head, I ran for my life. My heart would be pounding as I'm running to the church.
Definitely recommend playing the Silent Hill demo.
Yeah.
What was it called? PT?
PT.
Yeah.
On the topic of indie games, though, Five Nights at Freddy's.
I wanted to touch that because that has a different chemistry. That has a different mechanism than any horror game that I've really played. Yes.
Related to Five Nights at Freddy's. Anyone here at the Game Theorist on YouTube?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, he made one based on Five Nights at Freddy's. I'm not going to spoil it for anyone, but it's not one of those game theories where, Luigi's the one that really ends up with Peach at the end of Super Mario.
I remember,
But it's
Okay.
it's actually more in depth and actually more sort of factual.
What's the title of it, though? Like, what is...
I can go on his YouTube channel right now.
It's
has
like
a
his
video
most
for it,
recent
right?
upload?
It's probably one of his most recent uploads. And what?
Can we put a link to that video?
I can.
Awesome.
That's my 5-minute warning right now.
Okay.
Okay, yeah.
I'll let you know as soon as I pull it up.
Awesome.
Yeah, Five Nights at Freddy's. That is a whole different type of immersion. Imagine playing that like on an Oculus Rift or something.
Oh,
I hate that game.
You know they're going to do it now.
Yeah.
You know they're going to do it.
Found
God
it.
damn it, Abby.
He put it up 3 days
That
ago,
fucking
and
shit.
the title is Game Theory: Five Nights at Freddy's. Scariest monster is you.
Ah.
Ooh, interesting. Yeah, I definitely want to watch it.
If and when you watch the video, the entire video is an entire allegory to what it is that he's trying to explain to you. I'm not going to go to what that is, but it's actually really interesting. I thought of it as a different video to his regular videos.
Yeah.
Ah.
So when we finally put this up, I'll link it either as an annotation on the actual video or in the description box below.
Awesome.
Okay.
Thanks, Matt. Yes, what'd you guys think?
Fuck that game.
You have to play
That's
the
how you
game.
know it's good.
I think it's a different twist on the fear aspect.
Yeah, it is. It brings the helplessness and the vulnerability almost to a maximum.
I
You
mean-
can't go anywhere.
Yeah.
You don't rely on your stupid doors.
Yeah, I mean, aside from the stupid logic in it, like, you run out of power on a door, like, what the fuck? And you only get paid $120 at the end of the week?
Oh, don't spoil it.
But still.
Yes.
Game Theorist will go more in depth about that
Okay.
Okay, sweet.
if you decide to watch the video.
It has a good chemistry. It's completely genius almost, at least in my perspective.
Yeah.
And it's actually not so simplistic as you might think. Like, there is some form of strategy in the game.
Yes,
after,
there is.
After coming to watching a few gameplays and listening to Game Theorist's theory.
Like, I think Markiplier, figured it out pretty quickly. He, started forming his own system. I don't know if it's the system you were talking about, but he definitely had something going on when he was playing through it.
The narrator, which is the person using the voicemail,
Yeah.
gives you essential clues as to how to go about each day.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So using those clues actually helps you better complete the game.
Which I gotta say pissed me off with some LPers who I saw playing Five Nights at Freddy's. They just thought the guy at the beginning was annoying. But, I mean, you can tell right off the bat that he's giving you clues on the game. So a lot of people who I saw uploading videos of the game on YouTube, would just keep talking over the narrator on the phone. It was really annoying.
We should totally try it out, Abby. Seriously.
Why are
There should be a
you... Why
Let's
are
Play.
you... What?
I'll volunteer as much as I don't want to.
Yeah, I don't want to, but he's still fucking dragging me into this.
Yep. Yep.
Okay.
Into what?
Five Nights at Freddy's.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
What is it?
Hard enough time watching it.
Thanks,
I mean, do the animatronics, the way they actually look, actually scare any of you guys? Or is it purely just the fact that you're in this room, your power's gonna run out? And all
That's
that
it.
It might be the
Attention.
fact that you don't know when they'll be there.
Yeah.
You can follow them, but the fact that you can't actually
You can't go out and
predict
explore.
them.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love the aspect where, if you look through the camera, it's like a shitty,
It's
third-party
grainy.
security camera.
Yeah.
It's all grainy. And you can't quite see the image.
But
So you
the
have
second
to-
you let that camera down, they're 2 feet in front of you.
Oh my god, yeah, I can just hear that scream right now.
It's the scare factor. It's just the pop scare factor.
That's classic.
And it's like right in your face, too.
Literally, one of the scares is right in your face.
So I guess to just conclude, which game do you think is the most scary or made you apprehensive
Scariest
out of all of
game.
them?
Yeah, make that your final thought. What had the most lasting impact?
Where you couldn't sleep for days, maybe.
I think my game would have to be either. No, you know what? I'm not going to do the either. I'm going to stick to one. Okay, because that's total cop out.
Go ahead, Josh. What's your scariest game?
My scariest game, I would have to say, is Doom 3. It was the one that made the most impression on me.
Why?
Most of the stations that you went on, or most of the rooms that you went on, were literally pitch black. And I tried adjusting the brightness of the game. They're meant to be pitch black. They won't go any brighter.
Gamma.
Yeah.
I like the fact that the flashlight they gave you is rechargeable. Thank you, future logic. No batteries required.
Yes.
But sometimes the zombies would just literally just wait in the corner of like a console or a computer, and they would just wait for you there.
Mm-hmm.
So it didn't have a lot of scare factor. It didn't have jump scares. It was just the anticipation. Like, I know there's an enemy over there. I know there's a fucking zombie over there. I don't want to walk over there, but I know I got to walk over there.
Yes. Yeah.
So it's that kind of thing. Jump scares, they'll get me, but the anticipation really gets me.
Yeah.
Anthony?
For me, it's granted Resident Evil 4, because with the guys with the chainsaw to the big cheese, and then all the way to the final area with the regenerators of all things. Because the second you walk out, it's going to be right at that corner, and you have no weapons to take him out.
Not even that. You can hear them like they're sniffing. Like.
Wait! Do that again.
Dude, that's scary.
That's creepy, man.
And I'm like, fuck! He's right at the corner. Do I have grenades? No, fuck!
Do I have that scope that can see their invisible
That's
thing?
later, though! So it's those guys that scared the shit out of me, where I had to keep one eye open.
Yeah.
Yeah. I gotta stick with Outlast. I mean, because it's the first one that really made me care about the character, so it just made every moment like that much more intense for me. And I watched so many different YouTubers like play through the entire game. I've watched so many, but the scares still got me. Every time you had to jump up into a vent to like run away from somebody, I still curled my legs up in fear. So yeah, I gotta say Outlast for me.
Not funny, but you can still get the same amount of scare out of it. Watch TFS Gaming for most of the horror game playthroughs, because the person who does the voice for TFS for Krillin plays in character as Krillin through the games.
Yes.
So you'll have all the real factor of the scares just in a more comedic role.
Portrayed through Krillin.
And I'll put a link either in the description or an annotation in the video.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, they're great.
Thank you, Team 4-Star.
So for me, for scare, I agree Outlast, but I also think Alien Isolation did a pretty good job too.
That was really good. They did a good job with
Yeah,
that.
when they introduced the alien slowly in, what really scared, obviously when you see that fucker in the scanner, it's time to go underneath the gurney or hide, that's it. But the best, I try to scare myself as much as I can by, turning off the lights, trying to play, but I can't play by myself. I never played Outlast. Even if I could, I'd be like...
You have your brother with you sometimes?
Yeah. Like, I remember playing Outlast once, and I was like, alright, when I finally learned what the game was, I was like, I'd start it up, I'll be like, alright, nobody here? Alright, I guess I gotta go find somebody.
You, sit with me while I play.
Come on, sit down right here. Oh, you're leaving? Oh, I guess I'm done. Alright.
Oh, yeah, I gotta go too. Speaking of which, because we are in the works of, planning Let's Plays.
Uh-huh.
I'm, on the fence about that. I don't want to play alone, but I know if I play with somebody, one of you fuckers is going to try to scare me while I play alone in the dark.
I would never do that.
If we set up a Let's Play and you somehow get me to play a horror game, my back's going to be facing a wall and I'm going to be facing the entire room, so none of you can sneak up behind me. Because I don't want to see an uploaded video later on of me sitting there playing and you slowly creeping up behind me. Fuck you guys.
Abby, we love you. We would never do that.
Great, that would be great.
All right. Thanks very much, guys, for joining us on another episode of the Blind Eye podcast. Next week, we're going to be talking about immersive levels on video games.
Yes.
You know, how immersive can you get in the game? How realistic can it really get to a point where it's like, that's maybe crossing the line.
Yeah.
So thanks again for joining us on another episode of Blind Eye podcast. This is your host, Joshua Pina.
Zane Mehdi.
Abby Alejo.
Anthony Zanian.
We will see you guys next time.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.